So let's go to the last part here, given, I guess, an update on President Biden and his 7th grandchild, who he'd refused to acknowledge previously in the past. Time-honored Washington tradition. If you want something to just get lost in the ether, you got to do it on Friday afternoon. So Friday afternoon, the middle of nowhere, for some reason, President Biden doesn't release a statement to the press. He doesn't release a statement to everybody else. They somehow, the White House calls up People magazine and issues a statement on their 7th grandchild, who they had previously refused to acknowledge. Let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen. They said, quote, "This is not a political issue. It's a family matter. Jill and I only want what is best for all of our grandchildren, including Navy." Hunter's daughter, the 4-year-old with an Arkansas woman who Hunter met in a strip club and has since actually contested multiple times legally on grounds of child support, around grounds of whether she could take the Biden family name or not. And that is why, look, some people gave him, benefit of the doubt. Everyone's like, oh, he was shamed by Maureen Dowd because of her column. And I actually do believe that is true. But we shouldn't just sit here and validate that this is somehow enough, because we can't forget what Hunter and presumably the Biden family did to this young girl of 4 years old and to her mother. I mean, let's put this up there on the screen. As part of the child support settlement that they had with Hunter Biden, she was not allowed to actually take the Biden family name. And that is one where, he says, quote, he also promised to discuss planning for a college education fund with his child's mother, and requested, even though that she had requested to change the last name to Biden, dropped that request as part of the agreement. And that's why actually in the statement, Biden refers to her as Navy, and he doesn't refer to the last name that she has since taken, I believe, of her maternal grandfather. But, that is one where you can see that Hunter went out of his way to not pay, and do his due diligence, or sorry, his duty in terms of providing for them, and then also effectively treated her as like a political pawn, his own child, and that for some reason President Biden effectively deferred this disgraceful behavior to his son and just said, I'm going to take his lead on it, which is why he refused to even acknowledge her existence until she was a 4-year-old, which, we talked about this previously, Krystal, but it genuinely might be one of the most personally disgraceful things that we've seen from President Biden, that he has not received due criticism for.
I 100% agree. And the way that, we played how The View was trying to cover for him, being like, oh, well, this is a Hunter issue. This is really not on Joe. It's like, really?
Yeah.
And it's very relevant when you're talking about a man who puts family front and center. And it's a core part of his political pitch, is that he's this great family man, and he talks about his family all the time, talks about his other grandchildren all the time. That they had to be shamed into even acknowledging this child's existence. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't care what you say at this point. That stain does not get removed. And the real feelings come out in this child support arrangement where, Hunter Biden, first of all, fought them tooth and nail. And second of all, as part of the agreement, made them accept that she could not have the Biden name, because apparently they didn't want the Biden name tainted by some commoners from Arkansas. It is the height of elitist snobbery. It is heartless. And no statement to People magazine is going to put that back in the box. The other thing I would say here, though, is, it does show you when the liberal paper of record decides to do any sort of scrutiny that it does have power. Imagine if they, took this kind of critical lens to Biden and the Democrats more regularly. What sort of change might come from that? Because they were not going to, they explicitly had told the Biden aides and everybody around him, like, we are not acknowledging this grandchild. He has 6 grandchildren, not 7. So this was explicit White House policy coming directly from Joe Biden. And, a New York Times column had the power to at least shame them into acknowledging this child's existence. It's also worth recalling when Biden was first asked about this little girl, what his response was, and you can see, I think, the tone and judge for yourself how he really feels about all of this. Take a listen.
I'm wondering if you have a comment on this report and court filing out of Arkansas that your son, Hunter, just made you a grandfather again.
No, that's a private matter. I have no comment.
Mr. Vice President,
But only you would ask that.
we gotta go.
You're a good man. You're a good man.
Thank you, guys. This is all
Classy.
the time we have.
So just
lashing out there. Fox
lashing
News'
out,
Peter Doocy.
no comment,
Yeah.
etc. I mean, that was the first reaction, and it took 4 years and a New York Times shaming for them to even say that this child exists.
What's classy? Asking the current presidential candidate whether he wants to acknowledge it, or like what's going on with his publicly like shameful son, or just refusing to acknowledge your 4th grandchild, and she's 4 years old, cognitively functioning enough to know that her freaking grandfather is president of the United States. And then if you know that, then you also wonder, why haven't they called me? How come nobody cares about me?
I haven't met them.
Yeah, why haven't I met
DC,
them?
how
So I
come I
can
didn't
see
see
them
them?
on television, but nobody has the. But I mean, that can really screw you up as a kid. I said it last time. I believe, look, and this is the other thing about Hunter. I think you said this last time. So when Hunter decides to divorce his wife and date his dead brother's wife, for some reason, they were willing to issue a statement of support. And they're willing to acknowledge that and be cool, with his shit. But why on this one were they not willing to just come out and be like, look, whatever's going on between her and Hunter, that's fine, in terms of the mother, but we're not going to take this out on an innocent child. I also said this politically. How many people in this country, grandmas, grandparents, are raising the kids of their sons, daughters, who fell into a bad situation because of drugs? Millions of people are in the exact same situation. It would only make you more empathetic and connective to a lot of, I think, especially, white working class and poor voters who disproportionately have been affected by this exact same arrangement. And they would say, you know what, he's doing the right thing. I was 55 years old. I didn't want to step up. I had to do it. There's a lot of people in this country in that situation, and he could have stepped up in the same thing, but instead he chose the wrong way to go about it.
Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.